Hello, everyone, and welcome. Thank you all so much for joining us today for this live stream event. My name is Alexia, and I am the program manager of the Microsoft Reactor Toronto. I'll be sharing session resources with you in the chat. But before we begin, I'd like to quickly review two items: our code of conduct and event guidelines. First, please take a moment to review our code of conduct. Microsoft Reactor seeks to provide a respectful environment for both our audience and presenters. We encourage engagement in the chat, but please be mindful of your commentary, remain professional and on topic. And secondly, our event guidelines. This session is being recorded and will be available on demand through the Microsoft Reactor YouTube channel in about 24 to 48 hours. I will be sharing the link in the chat for our on-demand content. And if you have not been on a live stream to YouTube before, please note that you must create an account on YouTube in order to have access and interact in the chat. You can set that up now, and if you're unable to use the chat but have questions, feel free to reach out to us through social media or on our website. Now let's get started.
Hello, welcome to the AI 900 certification program, Artificial Intelligence Fundamentals by Human in Azure AI. I am Jacqueline Ramos and I am part of Human in Azure AI leadership team. This program was created by the Homemakers Code and the Tech Human community in collaboration with Microsoft experts. It is open to the entire community to learn the fundamentals of artificial intelligence, chatbots, machine learning, and generative AI. The program includes 8 live classes, completely free in English, and required proof of participation at the end of the program. Requirements for proof of attendance. To receive your certificate, follow 2 steps. First, attend the live classes or watch the recordings between May 60 and 29. Second, complete the keynote texts until May 31. A week after the second class, you have access to a quiz to reinforce what you have learned. When did you earn the AI 900 certification? There are additional 30 steps. Complete the Cloud Skills Challenge before May 31. You have access to a free Microsoft Learning Path with hands-on AI labs. The 100 most committed students, you received a voucher for the AI 900 certification free of charge. Good luck with your studies. See you soon.
Hey, hello everyone. Welcome to another session at Microsoft Reactor. And I'm super happy to be here with Veronica. Hey, Veronica.
Hi, Bruno. It's always nice to be with you and give out all those awesome talks and share our knowledge.
Yes. And hey, we are going to talk today about NLP, which is a super amazing topic to talk. And before we start, you probably seen that in the thumbnail and more, this session was originally going to be delivered by Ivana and Denise. They couldn't be here, so we are both here trying to help, trying to keep everything moving forward, because, I don't know, for me, NLP is super amazing topic. And also, we are going to see this today, but in the last couple of years, this kind of getting bigger, yes, Veronica?
Yeah, of course. Yeah, with large language models, everything is around language. And, the better we understand how it works behind the scene, the better it's working, hopefully.
Yes. So I know that we have your screen. I know that we have a couple of intro slides. Oh, yes, we need to introduce ourselves. I'm the worst. Please, start.
That's okay. Yeah, because we know each other, but probably people don't know us. So I'll start with myself. My name is Veronica Kolesnikova. I am Microsoft MVP in AI, and I'm also a senior software engineer at Liberty Mutual in Boston, Massachusetts. And I am a public speaker, I am user group organizer, and I'm just trying to share my knowledge about AI with the community. And I want to pass it to my friend Bruno here.
Yeah, so my name is Bruno Capuano. I'm working the cloud advocate teams at Microsoft. Main focus is AI and .NET. And hey, super happy to be here. And also, if we move to the next slide before going back to you, I also want to thanks a lot to Yvette, Camila, and Jean Joseph that they're helping us. I saw a lot of comments. I am keeping an eye on the comments. I try to answer or do more, but hey, Yvette, Camila, and Jean Joseph are the ones who are helping us. So thanks a lot there. And hey, everybody's saying hello from the different places and more. So we really, really appreciate all of you here. So I think we are ready to start. What do you think? Oh no, we have one more.
Yeah, one more. They keep coming. Okay, that's the last slide for kind of organizational things. So if you want to keep learning, you can scan that QR code and join Women in Azure AI and then join the certification program. If you do want to get certificate, that's a good start. If you don't want to get certificate but just want to learn, it's also a good start. So I can't recommend it enough. And we have Women in Azure and allies there. So open for everyone. And now, finally, we're moving to something specific to our topic. We'll be talking about natural language processing and text and language understanding today. And here is a high-level agenda. We have three fundamental aspects covered today. We'll be talking about text analysis with language service and then answering questions with the language service. And then in the end, we'll be talking about conversational language recognition. So it will be back and forth between me and Bruno. We'll try to show a couple of demos in the Azure AI Foundry portal, which is really cool. And, if you have any questions, feel free to post them in the chat. And we have, again, amazing moderators, and we'll try to answer those questions. And here, we'll start with text analysis basics with language services. And specifically, I have that fun gifts here just to keep you entertained so here I would like to provide an introduction to natural language processing. It's an area within artificial intelligence that tries to understand written or spoken language and respond the same way. So everything in our life is around language. We're all talking to each other, we write to each other. A lot of communication goes through written text, and then also doesn't matter which language you're using, if you are speaking English or Spanish or any other language. Natural language understanding processing can recognize different language and can be used in a lot of situations. And just a couple of examples where you might want to use natural language processing. So for example, you have your app on an app store, and then people provide all the comments and feedback and their opinions about your app, but there's just a lot of comments. So you can go over each and every comment and analyze it yourself. So AI is there to help you, and you can use natural language processing services. Doesn't have to be something from Azure, but any service that supports NLP can analyze that text and provide sentiment analysis. So you can basically get information if people are in general happy with your application or not happy, and what they think about it. Maybe some specific highlights all those services can provide. And then also those services can provide summarization. Maybe you have really long comments there and people want to actually share their opinion in details, and you also need help of those NLP services to actually get that summary and better understand what people think. But it's just one example how you can use it there are a bunch of other examples. I think once we start actually going through some details of NLP and the services available, you'll maybe get some ideas how you can use those services in your applications or in whatever projects you're working on. And here, I just want to provide an overview what we're going to cover today inside that understanding text analytics topic. So we'll talk about tokenization, and then after that goes frequency analysis. So after you get your tokens straight in, then you, in order to understand maybe something like sentiment, you can use frequency analysis. And then after that, next level is text classification. And in the end, semantic language models that you can use. And I'm going to go into details for each of that point. And here I'll start with tokenization. I'll quickly provide you that one phrase that you can actually use. And a lot of people are talking about tokens, especially with large language models that are everywhere. And sometimes tokens, what is a token? Token can be 3 letters or 4 letters long, and it's a little tricky to just look at a text or look at a phrase and understand how many tokens are there. So there are lots of online tools that can help you tokenize your text. For example, here each word is a token. So a token can be the whole word or a part of the word. And then, once you create those tokens, then you can actually analyze that phrase and pick the words, maybe repeated words, or pick the words that are actually influencing the sentiment. Bruno, do you know any good tools for tokenization?
Yes, so the most popular one used to be the one that OpenAI have, and I think that's openai.com/tokenizer. But that said, when we use large language models, and there are a lot of large language models, most of the large language models have their own tokenizer embedded. There are super popular ones like TikToken, which I know sounds like TikTok, but it's not TikTok. It's called TikToken, but this is a super popular one. But there are others. And in example, DeepSeek uses a set of tokenizers, and some large language models have embedded when you use the large language model, have embedded the tokenizer, so you don't care about that. But sometimes you want to use the tokenizer. Why? Because in all of the major platform, the token is the unit of measure of what are you going to pay when you use a large language models. So you need to know, in example, you want to know in advance that if you plan to generate tokens for 1,000 pages book, okay, how many tokens are there? How is going to be charged to my account or something like this? And also, depending on the tokenizers, you want to do some stuff. You can run around and play around with those. So I will say that even if it's not a super, super hot topic, understanding, as you mentioned, understanding the concept of tokenizer, trying to understand the popular ones and which are the ones that we can use, it's something that is important to because it's kind of the first step, the core step for NLP. I don't know. Does this make sense, Veronica?
Yeah. And also, like later on, if people want to use more large language models, actually, today we're not specifically targeting those large language models. We're just talking about natural language processing in general. So whatever we're mentioning here is not specific to LLMs or generative AI. But once you start using LLMs and then start using maybe those vector databases, that can be very important to understand concept of tokens.
Yes, and hey, just before moving forward, kind of a nice question from Dina. I think it's Dina Berry here, which is a token. When is a token a part of the world? So when you apply the tokenizer to a sentence, in this one is kind of an easy one because we have literally one token per word. But there are other scenarios when you can have a word that represents 2 tokens or even a token that is longer than a word. So there is not a strict rule there. And also depending on the tokenizer, it's may work different in each one of the sessions. So as I say, it's most close to the way that large language model work, but I will advise that spend some time, everyone, to try to understand the basis of tokenization.
Yeah, awesome. Thank you, Bruno. We'll move to next part of the presentation here, and we'll talk about text classification. So once you get those tokens, that a natural language processing service can actually pick the repeated words. I already mentioned that, or it can pick sentiment. So specific words, they are targeting specific sentiment. And I do want to start with some examples here. So first example, you get a phrase, something like the food and service were excellent. As we can see, that's probably a review for a restaurant. And when you see a word excellent, then probably the sentiment is positive. And something like tasty food and fun atmosphere. When you see a fun word fun, that means it's also something positive usually. And then some negative examples here, like slow service and low quality food. When you see slow and low quality, then that's probably negative. And that's, when you start analyzing not you specifically, but those NLP services, it's you through the services. So it's a little tricky there. When you see something like that, you probably understand that it's negative connotation. And same for those services, they create those tokens and then they start analyzing each token and then determine whether it's a positive or negative. And here, classification only has 2 classes. So all the left side comments were positive and all the right side comments were negative. And, because NLP services can analyze the tokens, they can classify those comments into those 2 categories. I don't know, I don't want to overcomplicate it, but, classification can have more than 2 categories, but for this specific case, we're just going to talk about negative and positive. Okay. Yeah. And this is kind of like next level concept after that classification. And we already mentioned that with Bruno. So when we talked about large language models and tokens there, and maybe like something like search, when you do vector data, when you create vector databases and then you do vector search, you need to understand the concept of tokens. And basically, as technology advances in NLP, the ability to train models can improve. And then all those tokens, they can be put in specific environments, so-called. I know I'm like just talking in abstract terms, but hopefully it makes sense. And each token relates to another token in that 3D environment, and each token has its own position inside the environment. And something similar like dog and cat, they are closer together inside an environment. And then maybe a skateboard is far away from cat and dog, because usually when you talk about cats or dogs, you're not mentioning skateboard. So some tokens, they're closer together and some tokens, they're far away. And then based on that relation between those tokens, the model can predict next token if, for example, you're using it for conversation, or maybe it suggests the class if you do classification. So class that is closer to the word that you submitted. Bruno, do you have any comments around that?
No, I was looking at the comments, the YouTube comments around. We are trying to share a link and we are trying to figure out why the link is not sharing there. But no, and yes, this is kind of the high level overview. I don't want to say the way that we used to do things in the past, but this is important to understand. Right now, large language model really make this much more easier, I will say, in order to do this. But yes, it makes sense. And it's also nice to see this in a 3D world where you have vectorized version of different words, how you get close to one to the other.
Okay, perfect. Then we're ready to move forward. I know we have a lot today, so I'll try to move faster. Okay, so how that natural language processing works. We're gonna show you a little animation of the process. So usually we start with unformatted text, just it can be anything. It can be a Word file. It can be a PDF. It can be maybe an extract from a chat or a page online that you extract information from. So any kind of text. And then you're doing the processing. So basically, you are using NLP services or tokenizers to create those tokens. I know it's something that is not mentioned here, but as a person who is working with AI and talking about AI a lot, I do want to mention responsible AI principles. That is very important. So, pre-processing, it's not only tokenization. I know for this specific talk, we are targeting something like tokenization mostly. But when you are processing your text, you need to think about all those responsible AI principles. You need to make sure that your text is up to date, it's not offensive, it's inclusive, and I don't want to spend a lot of time trying to go through each and every responsible AI principle, but just make sure that you are aware what's inside that text and you're not just dumping something into the system and trying to build something nice out of you don't know what. Yeah, and machine in general, machine learning and AI, it's not a magic box. It is basically garbage in, garbage out. So be mindful about your data that you are submitting. Okay, I'm gonna get off that soapbox and move forward. So once you submit that data and create tokens, then those tokens can be included into the training process for a language model. Once you create that language model, you don't have to create it yourself, honestly. There are services, so like Azure AI natural language processing. It's part of that Azure AI services suite. So you basically just create one resource and then you can do language analysis and vision analysis and all the services that are available there. Yeah. But in order for you to understand how it's working behind the scene in those services, that's the process that is happening. And you can use that language model for a bunch of stuff. You can use it for text analysis. So maybe perform, the you can identify some name entities there or sentiment analysis. And then, oops, I think I lost. Yeah, okay, sentiment analysis. I mentioned it and it appeared. So sentiment analysis can be positive, negative, it can be something more complicated. Maybe you want to provide more detailed information. So that can be customized as well. And then automated translation, you can translate between languages, or maybe you don't want to translate it. Maybe you just want to identify a language. You can do something like that with a language model. And you can get a summary of your text, which is really useful, especially if you have a lot of text and you don't have time to read it. I use that feature a lot myself. I'm glad it's actually available in a lot of online tools, and something like Copilot, for example, or, all AI can summarize it. And the last one is conversational solution. So if you build in bots, for example, then you can use language models so they can understand what your user wants from your application, and then based on that analysis, um, maybe call another service, and then that service will perform action, maybe send an email or something like that. So those are the applications of natural language processing. Okay. Text analysis. It's a quick introduction here. There are text analysis features. There are a lot of them here, like named entity recognition. So basically, if you want your service to analyze the text and then pick specific names, recognize maybe cities, you can do that through using the natural language processing services. You can also customize those entities. Maybe you want your service to recognize people from your company. Maybe they're not that famous, because like out of the box, usually the services recognize famous people. Like they can recognize Satya Nadella and the presidents and stuff. So all the people that we all know. But if you want to customize it and include people from your community, you can do that. And then entity linking is just linking to Wikipedia articles, so that's useful. Well, you can see how that service got that information and what you can learn more about that specific entity. And then you can get PII, personally identifiable information. Sometimes you want to exclude it. In a lot of cases, you want to exclude it for security reasons. So it's good to identify it and then remove it from the text. Or sometimes you do need that information. Maybe you're working for an insurance company or healthcare, and you need that information. So you do want to identify those entities and then use them later. And then language detection, I already mentioned that, and something like sentiment analysis and opinion mining. We also talked about that, text summarization, and then key phrase extraction. And yeah, so here are the examples of named entity recognition. So it can recognize specific type. It can be a person, it can be organization or location. And then for some entities, the NLP service can actually recognize subtype. So it can be daytime type and then date subtype. And then based on that information, you kind of know what to do with that entity. Maybe you want to save it somewhere. Maybe you can extract that number and then do some kind of calculation with that. That's what you can do with those entities if you want to process them later. And that is an example for entity linking. So it recognizes Seattle as location and then return the Wikipedia URL there. So very convenient if you build a knowledge base or something like that. And language detection. So there are a couple of examples here. And you see that first recognizes Spanish. And also it returns
which sorry, Veronica, which I know that when we did the slides, it's wrong because
yeah,
English is not my first language, but that's English.
Yeah. No, but see, that going back to don't just blindly trust AI.
Uh,
And we're gonna go back to all those responsible AI principles. So yeah, it's all on purpose. It can recognize something like that as Spanish, but it's not Spanish in this case. So definitely double check. It is not perfect. It is AI. Even we as humans, we are not perfect. What do you want from a technical entity? And then next one is English. And then I think that one is an interesting example because it's a mix. The name of the dish is in Spanish, is in French, and then the phrase
yes,
is
that's a tricky one because it has some French and also some English there.
yeah,
So when you usually, correct me, keep me honest there, Veronica, but usually what we will probably have as a response here is the three languages where Spanish is going to have the biggest score between 0 and 1, but we also have a very low for English and maybe something else for French. So it's up to us to define, okay, maybe this is a yes, a Spanish sentence, but there is a little French here and there.
Yeah, you're right. I'm glad you mentioned that because we can also check the score here. If the score is high, that's probably the main language there. But there are other options with maybe lesser scores. Okay, sentiment analysis. So it can be something like positive, neutral, negative. I know I talked about positive and negative sentiment analysis. That can be another category like neutral. And also there is a score. So maybe, it's 0.6 positive and then 0.5 negative, or no, I'm calculating it wrong. 0.3 negative and 0.1 it's neutral. And so based on that analysis, you can understand that it's mostly positive or it's mostly negative. And yeah, process that information further. And then something like that also has those scores. It can be 0, it can be completely negative, like here, without any hopeful positivity. But that's also useful information that you can use in your application. And then that slide is also a little bit messy because I think it underlines wrong things. So disregard the great things on the screen. And so basically, it is extracting key phrases and it can be part of summarization. So you are extracting key information from the text. So summarization is mostly like condensed text. So extraction, and then key phrase extraction is just the main pinpoints from the text. So something like that. Like here, if you move that green thing a little left, the key phrase can be birthday celebration. So you know that the text is mentioning birthday celebration, and then fantastic experience. So it was something positive, and then friendly hostess. So that's definitely positive experience there. I'm not gonna go through each and every thing, especially they're not aligned for some reason. But that's okay. So I think you got the point here. It's just something the key information extracted from a text, and then that can be used in summary, or you can have summary without those key phrases. Okay, anything you have to add, Bruno?
No, I think that we are ready to go with the first kind of questions to share with the audience. And while we are doing the next slide with the question, I want to tackle a couple of comments. So if you want to, if you want to use Azure AI language to determine the main points in the text document, which service features should you use? We are going to leave this one here, wait for your answers in the comments. And in the meantime, let me bring back some comments that we have here. So DNSR, language detection and translation are great together. It's an amazing combo. Completely agree. Right now, we can use all of these things, which are different features, but we can mix them. We can do a lot of things. So yes, perfect. And then we have two here, which are from Theo, which is Azure AI and PyTorch. So if this we have some competitions here or more product competitions. So Azure AI Foundry is the main platform where you can do AI in Azure and allows you to use already pre-trained focus services to generate images or do NLP or more. But you can also run your own, train your own models, use PyTorch, use Notebook, a lot of things that you can use there to do everything else there. So it's not a competition here. You can even, if you want to do and read and train your own models using PyTorch, TensorFlow or more, you can use Azure AI there. So you can create your own neural networks and more. So it's not a competition. It's a super open platform, from super boxed models to build your own model, retrain, and more. So it's kind of options there. And the last question that we have here is from Maria, is that if you want to build an avatar, I think you mean an avatar / agent to look for file in SharePoint, OneDrive, Copilot agents, Power Apps. Yes, Copilot Studio will literally say, I mean, you can code this, and I will probably code because I am a programmer first, but I know that my friends from the Power Platforms low-code team, Copilot Studio literally make this get info and talk with the info that you have in SharePoint, OneDrive, and more very, very easy today. So if you want to go in that option, take a look at Copilot Studio and everything that we have in agents in Power Apps, because it's really help here to do a very fast job. So sorry, I went super fast because I know that we have a little more time. And I don't know,
Yeah,
you
I
want
think
to add
people
something,
do really
Veronica?
well. Yeah, I was looking at the chat. A lot of people, I think almost everyone got it right. The right answer is B. Yeah, good job, everyone. I do have another question for you. So let's move to that one really quick. Question 2. You use Azure AI language to perform sentiment analysis on a sentence. The confidence score are 0.04 positive, 0.36 neutral, and 0.60 negative. What do these confidence scores indicate about the feeling of prayer? I think that's a player, probably. Yeah. Yeah, so first it's positive, second B it's neutral, and C it's negative. Please provide your answers, and we do have like a minute or so before we move forward, maybe less than a minute. Okay, I see the answers. Okay.
I
Oh,
also see the answer, but there are so many that I get lost here. I know the answer because I am taking a look at the slides. To be honest, I'm cheating. I should probably hide the response first, but I think most of the people are getting right.
yeah. No, good job. I'm glad everyone paid attention and learned something new, hopefully. Cool. I think we're ready to move forward, right?
Yeah, so this one is C, so move forward. So let me switch. I am going to present my slides. I'm going to take over a little here and present my slides. And hey, let's talk a little also about the basic of Q&A and how we use language services and more. And this is also mostly basically common sense. We have all of these NLP capabilities, NLP features. We can do amazing things, understand the sentiments, do translations and more. Where we can use this, where we can literally have experience with this. So probably the most common one are in a chat. We are talking all the time. People talk with ChatGPT, they talk with Claude, with Gemini, with, I don't know, there are so many AI-powered chats there, and it becomes very powerful for us to have conversations there. But we can also use all of these Q&A features in scenarios like email, social media. A super popular one in social media is I don't know, you can follow the thread and try to analyze the top 5 most popular threads that you have there, conversations that you have there, and see if the comments are positive or negative or more, or in the email when you are sending an email to validate that you are not sending something that you don't need to do, or if you receive an email in, I don't know, I don't speak, in example, Chinese, and if my friend Kim Fei from China is not here to help me, I will probably use some translation feature that we have here to understand at least the main concepts or the main idea of an email. So there are so many things that we can do right now that it's literally, I don't know, I really like to use all of these. And again, I am going to go back to this one because it's the one that we are going to show with chat, voice, and more. But I think, I don't know what you think, Veronica, but I think that in the old days, we used to have these nice chatbots. They were good, but today they feel that we literally talk with the person. And they are powered usually by a big, large language model. Think about a GPT model, in example, or maybe Phi, or maybe Mistral or Llama. And they are even smart enough to help us with the task because it's natural language and work very well. But they probably also understand that we get the point that the model and the chat is not good enough, and they can redirect us to, hey, these are the options that you have. Do you want to talk with the person? Because in customer service, in example, sometimes we need to talk with someone there. And I think that the jump on the quality that we saw in the last couple of years regarding a chatbot are amazing. I don't know, Veronica, what do you think about that?
Yeah, now I have trust issues actually. I keep getting those really good emails, and I'm always debating, is it a bot? Is it a real person? Should I talk to it as a human, or just send it commands and then they provide me information? So yeah, there are positive and negative in everything. But yeah, I agree. It's getting better and better, and it's easy to for large language models to analyze the text, provide information, and maybe call. It's getting like more complicated with like agents, calling tools, and then passing, if needed, passing conversation to humans, and then all those humans, they already have summary of conversation. So it's getting better and faster and easier for people who works for customer support.
Yes, and I didn't say here that yes, all of AI is creating trust issues. Yes, we need to know where we are, what are we doing, and more. But hey, that's also part of the interesting use of AI, which is basically we can use an NLP power system using a large language model and start to define and also start to feed that model with external information, like in example, office information. So when we chat, the chat will know if you ask for the main Microsoft Office in Redmond, and it's going to give you the address, or the one that I have not so close, but is supposed to be the close to me in Toronto and more, or Toronto, like they say here. So you can do these kind of things, but the important part here is that because we are working with the system, we can define this Q&A, we can ask those questions, but we need to test and we need to be sure about the quality of the project. So let me show you a couple of samples on this. I am going to share my screen, and we are going to switch to what I really like, which is doing some demos. And people know me, they will probably know that. There it is. So this is Azure AI Foundry. This is the entry place of everything that we are doing. And we are doing, as we mentioned before, about AI. Oh, I think I lost Veronica. She will be back soon. So in the past, we used to have Luis. Luis is this amazing Azure language understanding. But as you see here, it's going to be retired soon because all of the language understanding capabilities are being moving right now to Azure AI Foundry. So if I go back to Azure AI Foundry and we open one of the services that we have, we can take a look at all of the services. We have a model catalog where you can start to play around with the models and more. But let me go here to some of the models. And if I go to the playgrounds, remember, this is kind of the part where you are going to be able to start to see and play what we talk about, a lot of features. But here in the playground, we are going to see that one of the playgrounds that we have is the language playground, where we are going to basically use all of the super powerful features that large language model give us to start to understand these scenarios. So in example, we see that we have, hey, you talk about this, Veronica, literally 10 minutes ago, sentiment analysis, detecting languages, extract health information. This is becoming more specific. Extract named entities. If you want to take a look how this works, let's take a look. Let's click on extract named entities here, and we can select a sample like a legal document. So we have here a lot of information of a sample legal document. And if I do a run here, what we are going to have is a large language model that is going to read that document. And remember, this is kind of a sample of how you can use this, but you can implement this on your own. And then you will see that, hey, we detected the date here, August the 17th, a person here, an employee, an organization, an address, another person here. We have some, hey, this should be a security number. So we have a number here and a skill. So there are a lot of things that we can do applying a large language models. And the cool part about this is that because kind of and we see also the entities here in the right side. So we have here an employee, person type, and this is also important. Remember, every time that we do something like this, that we analyze, and in this case we do entity extraction, what we are going to have is we're going to have the tag that we detected, but we're also going to have a confidence score. And this confidence score is the one that we like to use, that we should use to basically say that, hey, I detected here something that it looks like a person, like this one, person type, and the confidence score is 65. Maybe, and it's probably going to depend on the type of documents and the type of information that you are working. Maybe you don't want to tag that as a person because you only tag, I don't know, correct information in everything that the confidence is 90% or more. But it's something that is going to be specific to your application. But this is important. We can do entity extraction, we can do language detection and more. But every time that we do these activities, we are going to have this confidence score, or I know that in other scenarios it's not confidence, it's a different value, but it's basically a value that tells you between 0 and 100 or 0 to 1, how close, how accurate is this description. So please take a note of this. I'm taking this. So let me go to the tech language. Let's do the mixed language content. I think this is a good one. When we do this, say that, hey, hello, I would like to take a class at the university, and then in Spanish, se ofrecen clases en español, es mi primera lengua, yada, yada, yada. So we have everything in Spanish, and say, hey, here we find Spanish as the main language, and we are 90% sure that is Spanish because at the beginning we have that English part. So this is kind of a place that everything that we talk at the beginning, you can start to play around with in Azure AI Foundry. But we can move further here. We can do more. How you can use this if you want. So if you want to learn how to do this, I will advise that you use something like Copilot. Copilot.microsoft.com. If you have an account, you can start to play around here. And we can ask questions. Like in example, let me open one of my sample documents that I have here. Where is this? So I have, it's open in Visual Studio Code. So I have, where is my visual? Okay, so I have here a markdown with a lot of fake information, not fake, but it's basically information that we use as a sample for talking about outdoor products. So we have here Trailmaster, we have here another Trailmaster, these are tents, then we have somewhere here another product, so I can't find another product. So I have hiking pants, and we have a lot of info here. I can use, as we said, this large language model, and I can go to in this case, Copilot, and I can ask questions like in example, let me switch here to my screen. I can ask question like example, what is the, I am going to ask this question. And this is just asking a large language model, basically questions about this. And hey, it found it. Why did it found it? What do you mean that, hey, you have information about the high quality person, whatever, and more the technical specs and more? Where do you have this? Because at the beginning, in this case, Copilot is connected to the web. So literally found information about that product, that fake product that we created for Contoso, a fictitious company, in one GitHub repository. So this is the moment that the large language model become more powerful. I can attach my, where is this? Let me find the right location. I can attach that document, no, this. I can attach that document here. And if I ask the same question, and I ask, what is the, let me find the Trail Master tent, and I ask the same question, it's going to give me again the same, very similar information with, and this time when it shows me the sources, I am going to have basically the source that is going to be that it is located to the document that I just shared here, because I asked this when I asked the document. But because it's also understand the document, and this is going back to the first question, I can start to use lateral language here. And I can start to say, let me copy these questions, like in example, which tent model support 3-season campaign and what are the peak hacks? So I am starting to query a large language model against a PDF, and I have here information about the products, which makes sense, and it works great. I have all of the info. And because these large language models are amazing, remember that we talk about entities, translations, and doing more. We can even do something, show me the response in JSON, also in English and Spanish. So I can ask the model to give me an answer applying some translations here from English to Spanish, and also the results can be in JSON. We can take a look here. We have here the English version. Oh, no, it didn't. Okay, I need to be more clear with my prompt. It showed me the response in JSON, fine. But then show me I wanted the JSON with everything inside. But we also have here the Spanish. So we are using these large language models to do more. And before we close, because I know we have only 5 more minutes, what is important here is that we have models. We have the chance to use amazing models. And you see that we can use them in a chat. We can use them in a lot of ways. But we also have models that allows us to basically talk with them in real time. So one of the scenarios that I wanted to show you today is a very simple, what is this? Let me show it here. It's a very simple, Aspire, there it is. It's a very simple online store. This is an e-commerce store that basically have a list of products. I am going to load the products right now. So we have here a store, and the store have literally a list of products. What we see in the very simple camping outdoor products. And I can ask questions here, like an example, do you have something for cooking? Because we have all of these semantic search features about NLP, is going to, yes, I have 2 products for cooking, camping cookware, camping stove. And remember, we support these languages are also amazing doing multi-language. So if I ask algo to light at night, this is in Spanish, I will have here basically 2 products response in English, because by default is always answering in English about this. But the main core topic today was about, hey, this should be a conversation. So we can use everything that we see today and create something that is going to be like this. And please let me know if you can hear this. So I am going to start to talk with my model. Hey, hello, I have a couple of questions. Can you help me?
Of course. How can I help you today?
So I am going to go camping this weekend, but it's going to be raining. Do you have something that you can suggest me to go camping on a rainy day?
Absolutely. For a rainy camping trip, I recommend a waterproof tent, a durable tarp for extra ground cover, and a good quality rain jacket.
That's amazing. But do you have any products?
Here are some great options for your rainy camping trip. One outdoor rain jacket.
That's cool. That's cool. And
how about
how about something to light at night, because it's going to be very dark?
For lighting up your campsite at night, consider these options. One, camping lantern. Provides a warm glow for your campsite, priced at $19.99. Solar-powered flashlight. Great for outdoor enthusiasts, also priced at $19.99.
So you get the
Both
idea.
will help keep your campsite well lit and cozy.
I need to improve the demo. So you get the idea. We can talk with this model. These models are amazing. I can even do something like this, and this is going to be very fast. Hey, tengo algunas preguntas. ¿Me puedes sugerir algo para cocinar si me voy de camping?
Claro, para cocinar mientras acampas, podrías considerar una cocina portátil
¿Me
de
puedes
camping.
sugerir algunos productos?
Aquí tienes dos opciones para cocinar mientras acampas. 1. Camping Cookware. Un set de utensilios de cocina por $29,99. Ideal para preparar
Trust me that I've been talking in Spanish and I asked something for cook. So the model is doing kind of a search online, doing multi-language and more. We can even tweak how the model is working here in AI Foundry and say the model should be always a friendly model or not a friendly model and more. We can do so many things. So this was just kind of if you want to see how this conversational work, this is kind of the idea. And I know that we are almost at the end of the session, so let me go back to the set of slides that we have here to remind you a couple of things. So remove this, add this. So when we do language recognition, it's super important that if we want to train a model, and someone mentioned that we can have, in example, PyTorch to train the model, you need to label your data, train the model, analyze the performance, and then improve the model. And it is a circle. We always do this loop in any AI and machine learning process. But when we are comfortable with this, we can deploy and use the model. Another approach is to use a large language model and to tweak the prompts to basically get more confidence from there. And that said, I know that we have the last 3 minutes of the question, but I want to remind everyone that all of the links, everything that you need is going to be in this link in aka.ms/women in Azure AI/stars here. So as far as I see in the chat and more, we share this, but this is the entry point for everything. I know that when we finish the lessons, we are going to also share the quiz and more. All of the materials are there, so please take a look. It's very powerful. I don't know, what do you think about Veronica, about the latest stuff and more? And before we move there, I know that Ivan and Denise were not here, it's me and Veronica, but feel free to contact with any of us if you have any question. We are always happy to help. So Veronica, I know that we have probably 2 more minutes. Any final words?
Yeah, I really enjoyed the demo, and I'm looking at the questions here. So Sylvester, I think I'm pronouncing that right. This demo use voice rag? That was the question. Yeah, so that it's a bigger topic, and I let Bruno talk a little bit more about that. But in ancient times, like maybe 2 years ago, it was only you had to convert voice to text and then process the text information and then convert it back to voice. Now, actually, all those like entity recognitions and language understanding, it can be voice to voice. So you kind of skip in that translation between text and voice in most of the services. And specifically about voice rag, Bruno, maybe you can answer that question.
No, I want to quickly show that one because you are going to get more info about this, and I'm going to do a deep about speech, translation, and more in the session in May the 20th. It's going to be next week. Yes, May the 20th, next Tuesday, I think it's 20. So this is the place that we are going to basically see how this happened in there internally. And yes, it's doing kind of voice rag, but I don't want to open the rag question right now because it's going to be very big one. So that said, I will say that we are at the end of the time. We'll thank you a lot, everyone, for being here. Feel free to contact me and share your questions in LinkedIn. Happy to help. And hey, see you next one. I'm Veronica. All yours. I will leave you to close the session.
Oh my God. Awesome. No, it was really great to be with all of you here and, being able to present with my friend Bruno all the way from Toronto. And I'm all the way here in Boston. But yeah, keep learning. I personally took that AI 900 exam maybe 2 years ago. So didn't regret it. It was really useful. But you don't have to take exam if you don't want to. You can always learn and try those knowledge, apply, and if you have any questions, reach out to us and tune in for Build next week. Lots of good sessions, whether you're joining online or in person. You'll learn a lot, I'm sure. Thank you.
Goodbye, everyone.
Bye.